Hey everyone, thanks for joining the channel, Dale's Bonsai and Garden. So I said the other day that I would start repotting some of my bonsai. I've done several this morning already, and I have some dwarf juniper here that are doing really well, very pot bound, so they need to go in pots. And I was going to put these in training pots, and I decided to go ahead and put them in small bonsai pots. I've already put the screens in, and the soil mix that I'm going to use for this is a combination 50-50 of perlite and organic soil. So I'm just going to put some in. As you see, there's a fair amount of perlite, which helps with the drainage. Do that one in a second. And so I need to cut some of these roots, because if I put this in, it's going to be way too high. So let's see, with my pruners here, which I've cleaned earlier, wiped it with rubbing alcohol, I'm just going to cut the bottom third of this juniper. Not the tree itself, but the roots. Be clear on that. And this is the time of year to do it for repotting junipers, because they will grow very quickly. Now, I won't be doing any pruning on the branches today, because if you do both at one time, I'll do that in the fall. If you do both at one time, it really stresses the tree a lot, and you could end up losing the tree. So as I continue to cut this 1/3 off, just about there, and you see I have plenty of roots, some with white tips, which is excellent. So I'm going to move the soil around a little bit, and that's about perfect. I'm not going to wire these trees in because they're pretty light and the pot is pretty heavy, so it should be fine. So I'm going to add more soil around, all the way around. Remember, this is 50% perlite, 50%, I know I'm making a little bit of a mess, but we'll clean that up in a second. So as I fill it up all the way around, I'm going to take, I don't have my chopstick handy, so I'm going to take the end of this spoon right here, and I'm just going to work it down around the edges. And as I do, work it in so the roots have plenty of soil around them and there's no gaps there, I will place my thumb and push it down as well. So just continue to go all the way around to make sure the roots have no gaps in them. And as I do, I'll continue to push it down with my thumb. That's going pretty well. Let me see, I'm going to brush a little bit of this soil off in here that I've spilt. And push it down. With the spoon, the end of the spoon first. Sometimes you got to make do with what you have in front of you. And I had my chopstick, but I might have dropped it here on the ground. So this will work just fine. So once I feel like I've got the roots covered really well all the way around, I feel a little gap right there, so I'm going to get just a little bit more soil in there. So that's how I'm going to do it. This will be the first one, and I'm pretty happy with the way that it looks. I will water these before I set them out on my bonsai bench. I'll do one more. As I said earlier, I have the screens in there. First thing I want to do is put a little soil in. I need to push it to the sides and a little bit on the bottom, but the goal is to make the roots spread out. So here's another dwarf juniper. And once again, I'm going to cut about a third of the roots off. And as I said earlier, I'm not going to do any pruning on the branches today. That will stress out the plant probably too much, and you risk losing the plant by doing that. But these roots are very healthy. As you can tell, it got pot bound, root bound in there. And once I get, the goal is to get the roots to spread outward. I'm going to do a little bit more so it sits down in there really well. Definitely going to have to clean these pruners after I'm done. A lot of soil here, but it'll be fine. They're easy to clean. Some rubbing alcohol. There we go. So that sits in there really nice. And now I'm going to take soil once again and go all the way around. Remember, this is 50% perlite and 50% organic material. And I'm going to do this initially to get the plant going. And later on, when I move it to a bigger pot next year, I can put the bonsai material in there. Let me push down with the end of the spoon again. Like I said, sometimes you have to make do with what you have around you. So the end of the spoon will work just fine. Then I will press the soil firmly all the way around to make sure the roots are covered really well with soil. Put a little bit more just to make sure. That should do it. Gonna press down one more time. And then I'm going to water these really well and set them on my bonsai bench around the corner there. So for now, I want to move all of this soil off the table and off my potting bench. And I'm going to save it, put it in the big container to use later. I want to let everyone know I do have a workshop for some high school students that I'm going to be doing after spring break. And what we're going to be using for that workshop is some boxwood that I have. This was all from cuttings about this big about 3 or 4 years ago. That's what we'll be using for the workshop with the students. Very inexpensive material, and I have some small pots, smaller than these, that I'll be using for that workshop with the students. Anyway, I just want to thank everyone for tuning into the channel. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll be doing some more with my bonsai in the next week or two. There's some that definitely need to get potted very soon. I did do my Japanese maples because they were budding out, and I wanted to get most of them done either in bonsai pots or larger pots so they could thicken up a little bit. So these are good for now. As you can tell, the pot's very heavy. And this is light, so I don't think it will tip over. That's why I didn't wire these in. Once again, thank you all for watching the channel, Dale's Bonsai and Garden. Please hit that subscribe button if you will, and give this a like if you enjoyed what I'm doing. And stay tuned as I continue to do more with my bonsai this spring. And I'll also be sharing just some gardening tips. I want to make sure that I do both. I enjoy the gardening part as much as I enjoy the bonsai part. Thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves. And remember, gardening, bonsai helps you release, helps you deal with pressure and stress that you might have. So get out in your garden, get into your bonsai if you have them, and enjoy this beautiful spring weather that we're having in Northern Virginia. I know it's very hot in the western part of the country, but this is the time to get it done. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.